Hey everybody, I am back for a very quick budget closeout for the month of April. I had hoped that I could put both the May and April budget together, meaning the April closeout, May open, but I realized that I'm going to have to wait until a couple of days from now to do the May open because I have to wait to see what the taxes are going to be out of my check. Right now, I'm estimating around $6,000, but I'm not sure, and that could be hundreds of dollars difference. So I don't want to open my May budget until I know what that is, and also until I know what I'm actually going to show up here. As you guys know, I don't show everything as it relates to my finances up here. So I'm going to go ahead and close out April, and we'll see where we landed, hopefully under budget, because I do recall going over a little bit last month. So hopefully I can be at or under budget this month because I am really wanting to tighten some things up. So let's get into my spreadsheet so I can see where we land. Also, I did have a question that I received about whether or not I use software as well. I do use a software called Money Manager X. It is a free software that I use for my budget, but I do not display that up here because I would have to blur out too many things that I would not want to show up here. So I don't display that. But what I do is when I'm preparing to do my budget, I write it first, and then I do my budget on my spreadsheet. But when I'm reconciling my budget, I can actually go into my software and pull items by category so I can quickly tally what I spent in each area. So I do use all three: written, spreadsheet, and another digital budget. So let's get into my spreadsheet because that's what I show up here. And let's see whether I went over for the month of April. So we are getting into our April budget here. So a lot of these first items, I already know what it's going to be because I get the bill ahead of time. And these are the costs that are paid in the month of the budget that I'm showing. So health insurance stayed the same at $45.64. Car insurance stayed the same at $334.46. We do have 3 vehicles on that coverage. Cell phone stayed the same this month, but it should be going down slightly in the next coming months. I'm not sure whether it'll be in May or June, but I did not change carriers, and there's a lot involved in that. I do have an additional line for work and everything, so I did not change plans, but I did get the price to go down a bit. Cable, internet, and landline stay the same, $378.94. I know that is a lot of money, but my husband enjoys cable, and I do get reimbursed for a portion of that through my workplace. Water was slightly higher than I expected at $64.43. The gym remained the same at $47.90. And the utilities, that's that huge bill from March. This is actually the March bill that I pay in April. So that's $420.06. That's all the more reason why I keep a month ahead in our account, because things like this, like I want to always be able to pay any debt we have off immediately, which is why I keep a month ahead. Okay, subscriptions was slightly higher, and that is because they are going up. All of these subscriptions seem to be raising their rates, so I really need to evaluate our subscriptions. I just have not had an opportunity yet to do so. Pet care, food, and litter, that will always be $100 because even if I don't spend that, I put the money in an account that pays for our cat's vet care if he needs to go to the vet and when he needs to go to the vet. Okay, gas was slightly lower at $346.50. I budgeted $450, and that is because I used my card for my gas this time. I did not use any budgeted gas money this time. But groceries was very much lower at $842.16. I budgeted that $1,100, and that's our groceries, dining out, and the vitamins that and supplements that we use. So that was lower this time, and I expected that because we went over last month. So I expected that it would be lower because we had already gotten some of the things we needed for the month. Personal care was $50. I spent the $50 for personal care. Home needs $40.77, and that was some items that I actually got from, I want to say, Dollar General. It was either Dollar General or Family Dollar. I did the video on it. Those items were the home needs items in that budgeted expense. Miscellaneous, I put $36.44. That was just other items that were in that trip that I made. But the whole bulk of those costs is not up here because some of those items I paid for out of my personal budget, which we will get to next. If you do not know how we split out our budgeting, I do have this is our joint account expenses, and then I will show my personal account expenses. My husband and I do have split finances. I pay for my own car note. He pays for his own car note when he has one. And personal credit cards, I will pay my own. He will pay his own. And then we have joint credit cards that we use for our bill items. Okay, so the budgeted amount that I budgeted for the credit card was $3,704.37. We actually spent $3,295.79. Then our mortgage will remain the same. That is our mortgage payment, escrow, and one additional principal payment for $1,852.13. And so our total budgeted was $5,556.50, but we spent $5,147.92. So we were $408.58 under. I'm really, really happy about that. Finally, I'm under. So something that I do not display up here, but I do talk about, is the fact that we do have a joint emergency fund that is fully funded. It has 6+ months of monthly expenses in it. We contribute to it every month. Even now, even after it was fully funded, we continue to pay money into that. I do not display that up here. That is not one of the accounts that I cover, but I do want to note that we do have an emergency fund. Now, let's get to my personal account. So, in my personal account, I do have a backup emergency fund as well. And usually what I have in my backup emergency fund, I will utilize that before we would use our joint emergency fund. It's just kind of like a little catch-all, a little extra little safety net. And so that has enough money in it. I don't plan to put any more in it until I have to use some of the funds. My car, I had budgeted, well, I had a total of $3,920.42 in this account for this pay period. And that included $1,500 that I had saved for my car in a savings challenge. So if you haven't checked those videos out, check them out. Plus $70 in state tax that me and my husband split our taxes, our tax refunds when we get it. This is the first time we've gotten one in years. And I think it's because of the overtime, no tax on overtime thing. And it was very small. It was very small, less than $500. But it was something. So we split that. And so for my car, I did a $2,358 payment, which is the equivalent of about a quadruple car note for me. Fidelity, I had budgeted to put $150 in there, but I actually did $300 this time, not $150. So I doubled up on that one. That is something that was on my 5-year plan that I was trying to do, make sure that I increase that money in that account. My FU fund, which is really my just discretionary buying for buying frivolous things that make absolutely zero financial sense. I put $50 in there a month. That account is also pretty well funded. I haven't used it in a while. I don't think I've used it since I went to Bath and Body Works months and months ago. I spent about $180, and that's the last time I used it. Roth, I put $150. That is my standard monthly contribution, and then I do bulk payments multiple times a year if I can. So my personal savings got $125. My personal expenses, I only have another subscription that comes out, and that's like a crafting app that I use. So that came out at $15.99. And then I budgeted that I would have $1,071.43 for discretionary, which is basically the money that's left over after all of these bills are paid. And I actually had to adjust that because it ended up being $921.43 because I put an additional $150 in that not Roth, but Fidelity account. So it ended up being a little bit more, but oh well. Out of that money, that $921.43 that I had left over, I put some toward my camera. I did get that Extra Muse camera, which I did a video on. I went to AutoZone and got a few things for my car. I went to Family Dollar and I bought some other accessories for myself. Just beauty accessories. And so I spent $521.23 with that. And then I had $400.20 remaining for cash stuffing. You guys saw me stuff $220. I kept the remaining, and I will be using that for one of my first savings challenges for the month of May. I am doing a collaboration for Blessed Budgets by Abigail. Her birthday is in May. We're doing a collaboration, so that money I just put to the side because I will be using that as part of the money that I will be using for those challenges. So I did note how much I saved and invested out of personal funds, and that was $1,025.20. So that is what that money comprised of, is the money from my brokerage account, my FU fund, Roth, personal savings, and my cash stuffing. That's where that $1,025.20. So then I always go down and I always do just a little breakdown of if I was following the 50-30-20 rule, what I would have spent out of those categories here. So needs, what I do is I put my base car payment and my subscription that I pay for because I've already committed to it. So that is 15%. And then I have wants. That's the next category, which would be things like the camera, AutoZone, stuff like that. 13.3% was for wants. And then my savings and debt payoff, which would be the extra payments toward my car and any savings categories, it was at 64.05%. So that's a really good savings rate for the month. I also always like to note that I do contribute $1,958 to my 401k and Roth 401k at work that is already taken out before all these expenses and I get my check. But I do want to note it because I would like to encourage everyone that if you do have access to have a retirement account with your job or you are able to contribute to one, I would just urge you to do so and think about your future self, because your future self will thank you later. So I always like to say that. And then I have this $500 gift card that I got from work that I still have not utilized all of it, but I've been kind of tracking what I have spent. So it started off at $500. I did get gas with it one time. I did take $100 toward my camera on this. $13.47, that was buying my book that Oslin and I are reading. I took some money out for face care, some face care products I wanted, and then some more gas. So now my total is down to $267.54. So I will go back to just using it for gas or whatever comes up. But that money is there for on the card for me to use, $267.54. So that is the end of the August budget. We were $408.58 under for our joint expenses. And that is all I got for you guys this week. We did really good on the budget, so I'm really excited to see what May holds. How did your budget month go? Were you over? Were you under? Is everything all right with those finances? So hopefully you are budgeting, and I can't wait to see everybody's videos for their budget close. And I will see you guys toward the end of the week with my May open once everything clears and I can see what the tax man is going to do to me. So I will talk to you guys soon. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.